I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to a special edition of our Berks County Board of Commissioners meeting. We're on the road in Muhlenberg Township, and welcome to our December 16th, 2021 meeting. We're broadcasting live via Microsoft Teams live event on BCTV as well as Facebook and YouTube Live. At this time, I'd like to recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used. Teams, Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. County solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. We will begin, as we always do, with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a special meeting for two reasons. First of all, this is the second of our On the Road series. Again, I want to compliment my colleague, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart. This was an idea that he brought to the Board of Commissioners in the spring. Both Commissioner Rivera and I embraced the idea, and I think it's being embraced strongly by the community. We have a number of other communities set up for next year, possibly even in to 2023, but we're here today, or this evening, in Muhlenberg Township, and we're very fortunate to have with us the chair of the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners, Mike Malinowski, and I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mike right now for some comments. Commissioner?
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for having us, and we're happy to be part of the meeting here this evening. We have a wonderful relationship with the County of Berks, as many of the commissioners are aware, and it's extremely important for our community to work hand in hand with the county because of our tax base. We can only generate revenue from so many places. So it's exciting to be able to share a little bit about our community. So I just wanted to start off a little bit, just some basic facts about Muhlenberg. For those of you who are not aware, Muhlenberg is a first-class township, one of only 3 in the county of Berks. There's only 93 actually in the entire state of Pennsylvania that are first-class townships, compared to almost 1,500 second-class townships. And how you know the difference is we're an elected body of 5. We're called commissioners. Second-class townships are called supervisors. That's kind of one of the major differences. Actually, how they classify a first-class township, it's every 300 inhabitants per square mile. So that's how the state, when you apply to be a first-class township. Muhlenberg Township, as many of you know, is right smack dab in the middle of Berks County. We're pretty much developed all around the area. We're about 12.2 square miles. We maintain 78 miles of roadway, have about 68 employees, and operate about a $16 million general fund budget. One of our major expenses, we do have a very large police force. Our community is very urbanized. So we actually take the most police calls in the county besides the city of Reading. Our police department's pretty busy to help service our 22,000 residents. One way to describe Muhlenberg, if you're familiar with it, we're pretty much cut in two by two major roadways, Route 61 and 5th Street Highway. And we call it the west side and the east side. And our major corridor and tax base is really through that for our business community. And thanks to the county of Berks and their direction and our LERTA program, if you're familiar with that program, the tax abatement program over a 10-year period, not to get into the details of it, but we've been able to attract some companies to that corridor, both retail, but also some large commercial business that has helped. So we appreciate the foresight of the county commissioners. One of our major points of the corridor was, as everyone knows, the Fairground Square Mall, or what it used to be. The county supported the board's decision to continue with the LERTA and not go with the recommendation of developer for a TIF, a tax increment financing method, and the mall folks lived up to their obligations and tore it down and have some things that we hear are pretty positive coming in the future. So one of the other major areas of Muhlenberg, besides our corridor and economic base, is we do take care of close to 500 acres of parkland. We're very committed to our parks in Muhlenberg. As an urbanized area, we think it's important to also provide appropriate recreation facilities. Many of you may be familiar with Jim Dietrich Park. It just won an award, and we had some folks from the county out at our last meeting to present us with the award. So we're very proud of that park. If you've been to Riverfest, we have over 20,000 attendees who come to Riverfest each year. It's a wonderful 3-day event that we put on, along with numerous other parks programs that we do throughout the community. We do have our website where all of that is posted. We do have an app called a Muhlenberg Township app that residents can, have requests for codes issues, rent park facilities. But those are some of the things directed basically for Muhlenberg Township, some of the things about our community. But we appreciate all the work and guidance that we get from our Board of Commissioners with the county. We just recently went through a project where the county rehabbed the bridge for our community that we've taken over. So we're extremely thankful for that. That's a very large expense for a community like Muhlenberg to have to tackle. And through the work of the board, we were able to basically share in that partnership and then take responsibility of the bridge moving forward. So that's, in a nutshell, a little bit about Muhlenberg, a little bit about our work with the county. Once again, we thank the board for the partnership, our ability to talk and speak with everyone tonight, and be happy to answer any questions or discuss anything further that any one of the commissioners or members of the county have, so we can let Mr. Petruzio get on with his budget presentation. So.
Thank you very much, Mike. I have some comments, but I'd like to give my colleagues an opportunity first if they have anything they'd like to say, share, or maybe put you on the hot seat and ask you a tough question. Commissioner Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Michael, thank you for the spirit of cooperation we have with Muhlenberg. And I can tell you that when we speak to developers and site selectors when they come to Berks County, where's a good place to explore an opportunity to develop a business? And the first place we talk about is Muhlenberg Township. And that's a credit to you and your staff and the other commissioners in Muhlenberg Township. You're kind of the go-to place for people that really want to get in and get started in Berks County and really grow their business or retain their business. And one of those hot spots is Muhlenberg Township. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael, just want to also thank you for the work you and the other commissioners do in Muhlenberg Township. As you mentioned, and my colleague, Commissioner Barnhart mentioned as well, Muhlenberg is a growing area. There's a lot of people wanting to start businesses there, to move to the area there. It's centrally located, 222 corridor up to the Allentown area, close by to the city. So it's a great location. So thank you for all the work you do and working with the people that want to start businesses there to make it happen so that they can start their businesses and grow there.
Thank you.
And you have a Chick-fil-A.
We do have
Yes.
That took a long time to get that Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that and Mod Pizza, a bunch of other places.
They're backed up in the street out there, usually at the Chick-fil-A at 5 o'clock.
Yes, they are.
So, Mike, again, thank you very much. Muhlenberg is a great example of a township that takes their future seriously. The way that you treat your existing businesses and prospective businesses is a lesson to, I think, a lot of other municipalities. If they want to see positive growth, you need to know how to treat your existing businesses and prospective businesses. Alerta is part of that, but I've got to compliment you on Jim Dietrich Park. Through the years, I've come to recognize Jim Dietrich Park as one of the best, if not when it comes to event opportunities, the best park in the entire county. I've been there when they had the moving Vietnam Wall. I don't know that there's any other place in the county that could have handled that event. I've been there several times for Riverfest and a number of other events. It's just a great facility, and it's being run by a local municipality, and it's something for you to be very, very proud of. So thank you for all you do. Please pass on the thanks, not just to the other commissioners, but to all of your employees, your law enforcement in Muhlenberg Township, because it's the teamwork that makes your community what it is.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will definitely pass that along at our meeting on Monday night, and hopefully several of them are watching. But this is good stuff for Muhlenberg Township. The more we can, we hear from developers like you that, we want to be the first place they come to. We want them to come here and help our tax base. So that support is so valuable, and we can't thank you enough. On behalf of the board, thank you the opportunity for speaking tonight.
Absolutely. At this time, I want to recognize our Chief Financial Officer. Many of you may recall that about a month ago, we presented the preliminary budget, and this evening, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Robert Patricio, is going to be presenting the final version of the 2022 budget for the County of Berks. Bob Patricio.
Thank you, Commissioner. I really appreciate the introduction. And if you just give me a moment here, I will pull up the presentation. And here we go. Oops. Hold on. Can you see that, Commissioner?
Yes, we can, Bob.
Okay. So thank you, Commissioners. It's my honor and privilege once again to provide an update regarding our 2022 budget to the citizens and taxpayers of Berks County. As you know, we presented our budget on November 18th of 2021. We made that available for 28 days of public comment and inspection, satisfying the county code requirement for a minimum of 20 days. As of this morning, my office has not received any comments, any expression of concerns, any inquiries. We have made some changes since we presented the budget, but you'll see in a moment they're very insignificant. And as a result, they do not rise to the level that would require us to make this budget available with the revisions for an additional 10 days of public comment and inspection. So therefore, Commissioners, the three of you are in a position to ratify this budget at this evening's meeting. So as we do every year, Commissioners, we continue to revise our budget after we propose it. We generally have to cut that off near the end of October, the first couple of days of November. And there's actions that the Board of Commissioners take in the intervening time period. There's revised state allocations that occurred during the intermediate time period. And there's information and feedback we receive from our department heads about revisions they may need so that they are in a position to perform and provide the services that they're responsible for and the taxpayers and the constituents require. So in that vein, we have made some changes, very insignificant. We increased our revenues by $900,000. It's a little over 0.1% increase. Just by comparison to prior years, this is probably the smallest amount of increase or adjustments that we've really needed after we've proposed the budget. The increase is primarily in 3 areas. It's real estate taxes. It's not tax rate increase. It's just growth in assessed value that's higher than what we had anticipated for the proposed budget. Commissioners, you'll recall I pointed out that the year-over-year growth at that time was 0.45%, just shy of 0.5% increase in assessed value. It's now 0.56, so I'm happy to report that it's higher, and we've reflected that in this budget. Aging has received a state allocation of their ARPA money since we proposed the budget, so we've included that. And we've also made a determination to recommend that we use our ARPA direct allocation for contact tracing and vaccine clinic costs, both of which were included in the proposed budget for 2022. On the expense side, we've increased expenses $800,000, again, just north of a 0.1%. Aging services, we're giving them the spending authority to spend the additional ARPA state money they received. Tri-County Rail Authority is a contribution that's being co-matched or equaled by Chester County and Montgomery County. It's simply to capitalize the authority so it can cover its startup cost and do about the business of securing federal funding and continuing to pursue passenger rail from Reading to 30th Street Station in Philadelphia and maybe even beyond. We've made personnel changes, many of which have been discussed at salary board meetings that have occurred since we cut off for the proposed budget. Weekly HR commissioner recommendations, all of which have been advertised and discussed publicly, and HR agenda items for personnel changes, vacancies being filled, those kind of things, picking up those wages. We've also decreased the capital plan, and that is primarily, commissioners, in 2 functional areas. It's in the information systems department related to network servers, and it's in the parks department related to Allegheny Aqueduct. We had that in our 22 proposed capital plan. They asked us to pull that into 21, primarily for the purpose of issuing purchase orders as soon as we can due to the delay caused by labor shortages and supply chain challenges. So they wanted to get ahead of that, and rather than wait till sometime in January, they wanted to have an opportunity to place those now to try to accelerate the receipt of what's necessary to move that forward. And the overall impact, commissioners, of these changes is it increased our unassigned general fund balance by $100,000 from proposed. And if I was going to point to one thing that really did that, it's the real estate tax increase, which is in the general fund. So that brings us to our budget today. We're going to be asking the commissioners to adopt a total general fund expense budget of $232.6 million. That is required by county code. We're also asking you to adopt or ratify a expenditure budget for all funds of $576.6 million. That includes the general fund expenditures. Commissioners, you can see there's a little improvement here on the surplus or the deficit reduced. Again, revenues, think real estate taxes, assessed value increased. And the surplus from all funds remains unchanged. That increase in revenues is offset by, we had to tweak our depreciation adjustment for our enterprise funds. So, commissioners, we did not recommend a tax increase with a deficit of $6.8 million from all funds in the proposed budget, nor will we recommend one now. We continue to go with no tax increase. We're going to ask you to specify a millage tax rate of 7.657 mils. Which results in a tax of $766 on an assessed value, $100,000 of assessed value per property. And the key reason, Commissioner, is in the proposed budget, and it still remains today, that we don't recommend a tax increase because we really focus in on our tax impact surplus or deficit. In this case, we had a deficit when we proposed the budget of $200,000. It's now $500,000. That increase of $300,000 is inconsequential on a statistical basis. on a budget that's $576.6 million. And I, in good conscience, I can't recommend a tax increase for that. We continue to see that of this total deficit of all funds, the vast majority, the supermajority, is related to one-time capital expenditures. And because of that, we recommend, which is also a GFOA best practice for a county of our financial strength and resources, that we use that instead of incurring new debt and incurring interest cost over 20 or 30 years to fund capital improvements. So as long as we have the financial strength that we have, we're going to continue to recommend that policy, which has put us in a position to have just incredible financial strength because we reduced our debt footprint significantly, as you know, over the last 5 years. We haven't incurred any new debt in the last 5 years because we're using our reserves to fund capital, and therefore, commissioners, no need for a tax increase. So that leaves us, commissioners, where we are right now. I strongly recommend considering our financial strength, considering that this budget satisfies the needs of the departments and enables them to perform quality services that our internal and external constituents require. So with that, I give you a strong recommendation to ratify the budget as amended. And I will turn it over back to you, Commissioner, as the chair of the board, and the other commissioners to see if there's any comments or questions I can answer, and if not, to take a ratification vote. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Bob. Again, I'm going to defer to my colleagues, Commissioner Barnhart and Commissioner Rivera. Would you like to make any comments?
I would. Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Prior to a ratification vote, I certainly applaud the efforts of not just our finance department, but each and every one of us who works day in and day out, elected officials, row officers, staff at the county, for really drilling down and making sure this is a real solid budget. I will again voice my displeasure with the allocation of $500,000 to the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance. We struggled to try to get a contract in March of this year. I asked for a 6-month update in August as to the actual allocation of that money and how it was being impactful with economic development. I have yet to receive any substantial information regarding that money that goes to the chamber. We have, in the course of this past year, a year and a half, added 3 staff members, 2 in economic development, also 1 in agricultural, a deputy director in agriculture. So to be fiscally conservative and making sure we are managing the tax base as prudently as possible, I have the feeling that we are doing some duplication or redundancy of services, or maybe some services are not being done at all. So what we did is we shifted expenses that were normally done by Berks Economic Partnership and the Greater Reading Economic Partnership over to the county, but we continue to fund excessively money to the chamber. I can recall back when BEP was in its heyday and then Greater Reading Economic Partnership, we received quarterly updates. We would know where the money was going. I felt very confident allocating those sufficient resources. When a number of years ago, we were approached with a merger of the chamber, the Greater Berks Development Fund, the chamber, and other entities into one unit, I was told by one member of the board that over time, there wouldn't be a need for a county allocation. I was told last year, as we moved into the economic development department that we have now in the county, by another member of the chamber board, that, gee, we will do economic development at the chamber with or without you. So I'm just troubled by an allocation of $500,000 of taxpayers' money to the chamber when I've still not to this day seen any metrics or measurements of what this money really is going for. And certainly I support the establishment of a passenger rail authority. I'm very front and center on that and totally supportive, but that's an additional $250,000 expenditure by the county. I think we need to hit the pause button with respect to the $500,000 to the chamber. Maybe we back that down to $250,000 and use the other $250,000 to fund the rail study. Because as one commissioner, I can see the real value of funding a study, a real comprehensive analysis of rail, but I still, in good conscience, can see the extreme expenditure of funding to the chamber with limited, if no results. So I don't want to belabor the point, but I have mentioned this. It's not a surprise to anyone. It's not an 11th hour, hey, he's dropping one on us. I've been asking about this repeatedly since last year. Again, in March, in August, in October, I brought it up at the November presentation of the budget, and I'm really not at this point satisfied. I will certainly support the adoption of the budget, but I think we need to look at a reallocation of that funding that's going directly to the chamber. Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach.
You're welcome. Commissioner Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. I also want to thank Bob and his team for the work that they've done. It takes a long time and a lot of work to put this budget together. When I would leave at 5, 6 o'clock, I see Bob's car there and some others of the team there working till late weekends as well. So really appreciate the work that Bob and his team have done, as well as all the other department heads as well, keeping spending at bay, being able to pass another year without an increase in taxes, especially with the way the economy is going. Right now, the last thing people need is an increase in their taxes. So I'm really happy that we're able to pass another year without increase in property taxes. I've reviewed the budget. I've had questions about it, which have been discussed, and I feel comfortable with the budget that we're passing.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera, and I too want to congratulate Bob and his team, as well as the department heads across county government. As Commissioner Barnhart noted, the budget department themselves can't control spending in the same way that the commissioners in and of our individual selves can't control it. It's working together that we're able to address spending issues and address opportunities for efficiencies. We'll continue to do that, but I think it's important to note this is now 15 years, and over the course of 15 years, there's been a total increase in taxes of just about 10%. The inflation over that period is significantly greater than that, and yet at the same time, our fund balance has increased, our debt load has decreased, and that to me is an example of how government ought to function and ought to work. The final note is, with all of this careful planning and conservative fiscal budgeting, we still have the highest budget rating possible, which is AAA plus stable outlook. You can't get a higher rating than that. We're one of only a handful of counties out of 67 with that kind of rating. So that's something worth celebrating. And Commissioner Rivera, you're right. A tax increase in this economy, as inflation is going through the roof, there's no inflation right now on property tax for the county property taxpayers. And that's an important thing for people to be able to count on for the next 12 months. So thank you very much. With that, we will move on. But before I accept a motion to approve the budget, I would like to note that each of the commissioners have submitted their statement on a conflict of interest to our chief clerk. Carmen, can you verify that all three commissioners have indeed presented their conflict of interest statement signed and to you?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. I can confirm that I have received all three statements.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will accept a motion to approve and authorize the 2022 Berks County budget as presented.
So moved.
Establishing a tax rate of 7.657 mils. I'll second that, noting my objection to the $500,000 allocation to the GRCA.
The motion has been made and seconded, and the tax rate, just because sounds a little confusing to me, is exactly the same as it is currently. This is not a new tax rate. It is the existing tax rate. Is there any other discussion?
I have no discussion, but just as a matter of clarification, because what we're proposing is no tax increase for the county. We don't control the municipality or the school district, so some people may see the tax increases on their municipal tax bill. Correct. And or on their school tax bill. That's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the county property tax part of your tax bill.
Very good point. And as a realtor, you realize that people say, hey, my taxes went up. How can you say they're not changed? We're talking exclusively about their county property tax bill. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll now turn to Brian Gottschall, our Director of the Berks County Department of Emergency Services and our lead on the Berks County COVID-19 leadership team for the Berks County COVID-19 data report. Brian Gottschall.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, December 16th, very quickly, I'd like to mention in the spirit of our discussions about our partnership with Muhlenberg Township that they and their personnel were instrumental in helping us to get the Berks Cares vaccine clinic open in Muhlenberg Township at the Walmart Plaza in the spring and early summer of this year. So that's just yet another example of great partnership between the county and Muhlenberg Township. First slide we want to take a look at is our cases and testing. We continue to see enormous growth in the community of COVID cases. The blue line on the right side of the graph demonstrating that over the last 14-day period, we have far exceeded all prior 14-day rolling totals for new cases in Berks County. Oops, sorry about that. Also want to take a look at our nationwide outlook that we've been seeing for the last few weeks here. Again, focusing on the part that's circled in red. We see there's been about a 1% change both up and down in counties in the United States, but generally the conditions are pretty much the same. The vast majority of the country is in high spread. One thing worthy of note, I focused in on Maryland and wondered what the heck they're doing so close to us and how they have so much low and moderate spread. And that's actually an anomaly that has to do with the fact that they're not reporting their case counts in the same way that most other states are. They're basing their numbers only on test positivity, not on actual community transmission. So that does represent a pretty big anomaly, very much close to home, and I wanted to draw some attention to that. Our pediatric cases in Berks County continue on an upswing. As I've mentioned before, our 5 to 18-year-old cases have gone up and down over the last number of weeks, but we did see a pretty dramatic increase this week. Likewise, our 0 to 4 cases are continuing to rise slowly on a week-to-week basis. One thing I do want to note is while those numbers are up, they're up in proportion to the total community numbers. So I don't think it would be fair to look at this slide in a vacuum and say there's some new significant impact on kids. It's very much a product of the fact that cases are up in general. Our hospitals actually look a little bit better this week than they did last week. Again, I don't think it's representative of any easing or alleviation of the strain, but anytime we see good news, I think we want to emphasize it. And this week certainly did look slightly better than last week across the board in all categories for census, ICU, and ventilators. Again, back to the bad news side of things, our influenza numbers continue to rise. We had yet another week of rising cases. Keep emphasizing to folks that we have an opportunity for an exit ramp in these numbers. Folks can get their flu shot, can take appropriate precautions, not go out and about when they're sick. Of course, do very much the same kind of things we're asking them to do with respect to COVID to protect the community from the double tap impact of COVID and influenza at the same time. Very quickly, in our current events and things on the horizon, we of course began talking about Omicron last week. It really broke in the news the week prior when there was not a meeting to talk about it at. I think our wrap up for this week will be simply to say that there's still a lot of data coming out. We continue to see both laboratory and real world data indicating that the virus is certainly more transmissible. Some numbers that have been thrown around are 70% faster replication in the bronchus of the respiratory systems. But the good good news piece of this is, while there's certainly not a final answer here, a lot of the data is continuing to firm up, saying that the disease is not more virulent. So more likely or more easy to contract, but not necessarily more capable of causing severe disease or hospitalizing us or killing us in a way different than what we were dealing with Delta. Also, it bears mention that it appears that the more current vaccine you have, the more neutralizing antibodies you have, and the more protective it is against that Omicron variant. So again, kind of a cheer for booster shots that are more current than our older vaccines might have been a number of months ago. Reminding everyone that we do have a public COVID testing site outside of our offices at 2561 Burnville Road. That testing site will continue to operate as is on the slide and as we've talked about previously, but I'm also able to now announce that we're going to extend that testing site yet another week through the week of December 27th to the 29th, where it will operate on Monday through Wednesday, shutting down, not operating Thursday, Friday, Saturday due to the Christmas holiday, but open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at no cost for anyone that is interested in pursuing a COVID test. Just again, the slide that we've been showing you the best way to access that site, Burnville Road or 183, however you call it, to the red light at Van Reed Road, and the side entrance of the Direct Link facility where our offices are located. And then finally, our weekly promotion of the doyourpartberks.com webpage, where we would encourage folks in Berks County to go and find out any information they're interested in about COVID vaccine testing, anything really related to the COVID virus and response. And with that, Commissioner, I'm back to you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Any questions or comments for Brian? Hearing none, we will move on with our agenda. Are there any additions or corrections for the December 9th Commissioner meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We did have an executive session yesterday, December the 15th, dealing with litigation. Anne Marie, is there any public comment on specific agenda items?
No, there are not any.
Thank you very much. We will move then into our agenda. Item 1, authorizing under that budget department, adopt a resolution authorizing 2021 budget transfers in the amount of $11,949 and 2021 appropriations in the amount of $6 million per listing dated December the 10th of 2021. There are several items listed under Human Resources. Under item A, item 1, authorize the appointment of Jacqueline Schiffert to Senior Financial Analyst, Budget and Finance. Item 2, authorize the appointment of Alexa Antonavage to Law Clerk 1 in Court Administration. Item 3, authorize the appointment of Jennifer Gumbar to Judicial Administrative Assistant, Court Administration. Item 4, authorize the appointment of Jamie Matos to Law Clerk 1 in Court Administration. Item 5, authorize the promotion of Carmen Bloom from Assistant County Solicitor to Supervising Attorney in the Solicitor's Office. Item 6, authorize the promotion of Wendy Pennington from Human Resources Generalist to Benefits Manager in Human Resources. Purchasing. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a 1-year contract as a result of an invitation to bid for inmate and resident clothing for the participating members of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Counties Cooperative Purchasing Board, including Berks County, as follows. Bob Barker Company out of North Carolina, estimated total grand expenditures $325,381.63. The Berks County portion is $156,758.89. I have one item listed under my name. Adopt a resolution authorizing the appointment of Lizette Martinez of Reading, Pennsylvania, to the Berks County Children and Youth Services Advisory Board for a 3-year term expiring on December 31st of 2024. There are several items listed under the commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a letter of understanding between the District Attorney's Office of Berks County, Pennsylvania Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania State Police to work law enforcement initiatives and establish the administrative framework for the reimbursement of certain overtime hours incurred by members of the Pennsylvania State Police Troop L. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing Pamela Seaman, Administrator, Berks County Office of Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities, to complete and execute the Department of Human Services annual notification form for assisted outpatient treatment, indicating Berks County's intent to opt out of the assisted outpatient treatment for the calendar year 2022. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing Brian Gottschall, Director of the Department of Emergency Services, to execute a letter of engagement and any and all documents related to the provisions of Next-Gen 911 services for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency and Berks County, to set forth expectations, define interoperability, roles and responsibilities, and the necessary steps to review, amend, or establish new methods and processes to successfully implement and sustain Next Generation 911 statewide. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the following 3 agreements pertaining to the proposed settlement for all opioid litigation against pharmaceutical distributors McKesson Cardinal Health and America Source Bergen distributors, and against manufacturers Johnson Pharmaceuticals Inc. and its parent company Johnson & Johnson. Item 1, the participation agreement for the distributor settlement. Item 2, the participation agreement for the Johnson settlement. And item 3, the participation agreement for the intrastate allocation of settlement funds. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing Alan Piper, Transportation Planner, to execute the PA Department of Environmental Protection Chapter 105 permit application and the general information form for the Peachtree Bridge Replacement Project over Saucony Creek, Kutztown Borough, County Bridge 10B. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of the lease agreement extension between the County of Berks and Earthrise Enterprise, Inc., Reading, PA, for the leasing of space on the 2nd floor of the County Services Center for the operation of a snack shop, and the lease term to be extended for 1 year, expiring December 31st of 2022. Item G, adopt a resolution authorizing the reappointment of Christian Y. Leinbach as Commissioner Director to the Berks County Conservation District for a 1-year term expiring December 31st of 2022. Item H, adopt a resolution authorizing the on-the-road commissioner meetings for 2022 on the following dates and locations: March 31st, Hamburg High School; June 30th, Cumru Township Building; September 29th, Birdsboro Borough Hall; December 15th, Rockland Township Building. Item I, adopt a resolution authorizing the reappointment of Piper Sherburne, Albertus, Pennsylvania, as Public Director to the Berks County Conservation District Board for a 4-year term commencing January 1 of 2022 and expiring December 31st of 2025. Item J, adopt a resolution authorizing the appointment of Larry Kale, Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, as Farmer Director to the Berks County Conservation District Board for a 4-year term commencing on January 1st of 2022 and expiring on December 31st of 2025. Item K, adopt a resolution authorizing appropriations in the amount of $3 million to the Reading Baseball LP, Berks County, Pennsylvania, from the county general funds for facility improvements. Item L, adopt a resolution authorizing appropriations in the amount of $3 million to Berks County Convention Center Authority, Berks County, Pennsylvania, from the county general funds for facility improvements. Item 2, a motion to authorize execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the attached listing dated December the 13th of 2021. There are a total of 14 contracts, 5 with the Area Agency on Aging, 1 with Children and Youth Services, 2 with the Commissioners, 1 with the Coroner's Office, 2 with Facilities and Operations, 1 with Human Resources, and 1 with the Planning Commission. And then item 3, a motion to authorize execution of payments and electronic transfers as set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated December the 16th of 2021. Item 4, a motion to authorize execution of payments and electronic transfers for the week ending December 23rd of 2021, subject to final review and approval of the Chief Administrative Officer. And item 5, a motion to authorize execution of employee payroll disbursements dated December 21st and January 4th, December 21st of 2021 and January 4th of 2022.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. At this time, we'll turn to our County Treasurer, Dennis Adams, for the Treasurer's report. Is Dennis on or Linda Weaver on?
I believe I saw an email earlier. They transmitted that to the chief clerk since neither of them would be present.
Okay, I have it in front of me. I did that just in case. The general account total is $184,974,533.90. There's a balance to clear of $5,455,534.70. That leaves a balance of $179,518,999.20. And let me see here. Next, we have the Controller's Office report. And who do we have giving the Controller's Office report? Because I don't see Rosna, Sandy, or anyone. So we have no one on from the Controller's Office, so there will be no Controller's Office report. We'll turn now to our Chief Administrative Officer, Ron Seaman, for your report.
Thank you, Commissioner. First of all, I'd like to take just a brief moment. Normally, I extend my thank yous to the Budget Department when the budget's put on the table in November, but I didn't do it at that time. But I want to again acknowledge the fine cooperation I had working with Laura Jones, the Deputy Chief Financial Officer, and Bob in reviewing the capital requests from each of the departments. This is the third year we followed this process, and it really works well, streamlining the approval or disapproval of those requests. So I want to thank them for that cooperation. Next, the time is growing shorter and shorter to be able to partake of the holiday lights at Grings Mill. This weekend, we have on tomorrow evening, the 17th, musical entertainment provided by the Berks Troubadours. There's a strolling Belschnickel, and the food trucks, Which Way Sandwiches, and the Perk Up truck will be present. Saturday the 18th, the musical entertainment is the Berks Brass Menagerie. There'll be an appearance by King Winter, And again, the Perk Up truck and Castaneda's food truck will be present. And then Sunday, the 19th, Stephanie Grace will be presenting the entertainment. There'll be a strolling Santa, and Mad Jay's barbecue in the Perk Up truck will be present. From that point on, we have Monday the 20th, Tuesday the 21st, Wednesday the 23rd, and Thursday the 23rd, all with musical appearances by Emma Ryan on the 20th, an appearance by King Winter, who will speak on the solstice, be there on the solstice, the Reading Choral Society on the 22nd, and Ken Garrett and the Irish Mist on the 23rd. And then the display will be closed from the 24th through the 25th, reopen on the 26th, and continue the 27th, 28th, 29th, and the 30th. So please take advantage of this while it's still available. The park itself is open from 6 to 9, and the entertainment runs 6:30 to 8:30. With that, I would like to wish everyone the best of this holiday season, and enjoy it, but most of all, be safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll now turn to reports from the commissioners, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Linebuck. I just have a few items I'd like to touch on today. One is on January 25th. I know it's still about 6 weeks away, but the Berks Latino Workforce will be hosting a job fair. This is just a preliminary flyer. There'll be more information added to it as things move along, but you can see there some of the employers that will be there. So set that date aside, January 25th. If you are an employer and would like to participate, please reach out to them as well. You can see the contact information on there. If you can't write it down, please call my office and we will get that to you. But something to keep in mind. Also, just wanted to give a shout out to my wife. Tomorrow we celebrate our 20th year anniversary. So she has graciously put up with me for 27 years. So I thank her for that. She's a great blessing to my life and to my family as well. And last but not least, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Take some time this holiday season to just step away from the busyness of life, from routine, from work, from just those things that keep us occupied all the time. And let's just take some time to spend with our family, to spend with our friends, to meditate what the true meaning of Christmas is, and just, prepare ourselves for next year. But most importantly, let's spend that time with family and friends during this period. I do ask you, though, to be safe. As you have seen, COVID numbers have continued to go up. So while you are spending time with family and friends, do it in a way that is safe and responsible, both for you and for them as well. And those are my comments, Commissioner Linebuck.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera, and congratulations on 20 years.
27.
27.
27.
You look so young compared to
Thank you.
Commissioner Barnhart and I. It just seems like it's only been 20 years.
Well, I was 15 when I got married, that's why.
Don't overplay, okay? But no, congratulations.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Barnhart.
Yes, thank you. Traditionally, this is our last meeting of the year, but I do believe we have one this coming Thursday on the 23rd. But since that'll probably be a 5-minute meeting, I do want to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. Certainly count your blessings and be safe as we go through these holidays. Please be mindful of that. We want you all here next year and way into the future. So thank you. God bless everybody.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Barnhart. I want to also wish everyone the very best. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. We will be meeting next week, but it will be a short meeting. We hadn't planned to meet, but there are a couple items that have to be dealt with, and they have to be dealt with in a public meeting before the end of the year. So we will get that in, but I'm guessing a lot of people won't be tuned in for that meeting. So want to wish you the very best. Stay safe. You saw the report on COVID, and I know there are varying opinions on COVID, but the reality is it is out there. There are people that are sick. There are people that are dying from COVID, and there are people in our hospitals that are struggling this Christmas season. If you don't care about it, let's at least look out for the folks around us, especially those that are more at risk. So take care. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a very blessed New Year. With that, are there any comments from any of our row officers? Hearing none. Anne Marie, I know that we have at least one public comment, if you want to share that.
Yes, I will. It's from John Archer in Spring Township. It says, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart has raised an excellent point regarding his concern the GRCA budget amount needs to be called into question due to the GRCA's lack of responsiveness to the county. Just because it has been budgeted does not, I presume, require that the monies actually be awarded to this outfit. Where is the accountability?
And I think that's all of the comments. I will address that. I have, in the last few minutes, sent a request to Jim Gerlach, the president of GRCA, and to Deb Millman, asking them to present publicly before the Board of Commissioners in early 2022 a report on 2021. I will also note that for the first time ever, we required a contract that outlines and delineates specifically the work that they are supposed to be doing for the funds that they have been provided. That has not happened in the past. That took some time to put that together, but I believe we have a good agreement in place. And let's see what the report has to say early in 2022, but they definitely owe us a definitive and public report on their activities. So that email's gone out already, and I expect to hear probably tomorrow a response. Any other responses from my colleagues? I think that's it. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Unless you have something else in your mind.
Sorry?
I said unless you have something else in your mind.
No, motion to adjourn.
Second.
The meeting stands adjourned.